Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Sonali Wanigababige. Coming up on News First tonight.
Citizens of Maldives, as I see it today, if I remain as the president any longer, there would be numerous repercussions and a lot of damage, for which reason I have resigned as president of Maldives as from today.
First up is a look at tonight's headlines.
Maldives Vice President sworn in as the country's new leader. The president says that a group of persons who make separatist demands are also among us. Accusations leveled stating that there is a delay of providing school uniforms. And teams search for Philippine earthquake survivors while many other countries continue to suffer natural disasters.
On to the stories in detail. After weeks of political turmoil, the Maldivian president stepped down today. News First Shamir Rasuldin and Zulfiq Farzan filed a comprehensive report on what unfolded in the Maldives during the course of the day.
Mohamed Nasheed, the president of Maldives, has resigned after weeks of clashes and a mutiny by some police officers. In an address on state television, Nasheed said that it would be better for the country in the current situation if he stood down. Meanwhile, Maldivian Vice President Dr. Mohamed Wahid Hassan took oath as the President of Maldives of the caretaker government this evening. Earlier, a group of police officers took control of the state broadcaster in the capital Male. Tensions escalated after the Maldives army arrested a senior judge last month, prompting bitter street protests in the Indian Ocean island chain. Soldiers had used tear gas to break up a demonstration by supporters of ex-President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom. Mohamed Nasheed announced his resignation during a televised news conference today.
Citizens of Maldives, as I see it today, if I remain as the president any longer, there would be numerous repercussions and a lot of damage, for which reason I have resigned as president of Maldives as from today. I wish everyone a better future, and I have never believed in remaining in power by the use of force. The way I saw it, if I were to keep the government in power, I would have had to use excessive force, which would have resulted in a lot of people getting hurt, which is the reason I came to the conclusion I did. At the same time, if I were to have taken steps to sustain the government, there is a strong likelihood of external influences.
Meanwhile, Dunya Maumoon, a member of the opposition Progressive Party of Maldives, had told international media that Nasheed is under military protection. According to the BBC, earlier a group of policemen had taken over the state broadcaster and began playing out messages in support of Maumoon Abdul Gayoom. Several journalists were said to be detained in the facility. Sources in the office of Nasheed had told the BBC that the protests took place in the military headquarters, a high security zone. Yesterday, around 50 policemen stood down in favor of the protesters and refused to obey orders. The president's office denied reports that the army had fired rubber bullets at the protesting police officers. The protests and scramble for position ahead of next year's presidential election have seen parties adopting hardline Islamist rhetoric and accusing Nasheed of being anti-Islamic. They have reignited a long-standing bitter rivalry between Gayoom and Nasheed, who was jailed for a combined 6 years after being arrested 27 times under Gayoom's rule while agitating for democracy.
We know that the police obviously who had initiated this protest, because we've been protesting for 22 days, but last night what was different was the involvement of the police. We had the police and the army both kind of agreeing to ask the president to resign.
Now, a Sri Lankan national in Maldives speaking exclusively to News First said that the situation that was prevalent in the morning at the army headquarters in Maldives has returned back to normal. For more information on the prevailing situation in the Maldives, I spoke to Lieutenant Colonel Abdul Rahim Abdul Latif, the military spokesperson of the country. This is what he had to say.
No, at the moment, President is not he is not in our custody or he is not in any something like that. At the moment, I can say it's getting normal. There was some unrest from last night, but now it is getting normal, and I believe that it is under control.
Now, meanwhile, also speaking to News First, Sri Lankan High Commissioner in Maldives, Dixon Dallas, said that no Sri Lankan has been affected by the situation in the Maldives.
So far, no Sri Lankan has been harmed. Government institutions were closed in the Maldives today. In some areas, tear gas was used to control gatherings. The public over here are not inconvenienced. Public activities are going on as usual. We too are in office as usual.
Let's now take a brief look back at the political journey of Mohammad Nasheed, who stepped down as the president of Maldives today. Mohammad Nasheed is the founder of the Maldivian Democratic Party and served as the fourth president of the Maldives. He was a presidential candidate in the October 2008 election, in which he defeated long-time President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom, who was holding office for 3 decades, in the second round. In 2003, Nasheed left Maldives and continued with his political career in exile in Sri Lanka and the UK. Nasheed, who was recognized as a political refugee by the British government in 2004, returned on April 30th, 2005, after which he was arrested on a number of occasions. Nasheed was also an environmental celebrity, traveling the world to persuade governments to combat climate change that could send sea levels rising and inundate his nation. Now, News First, of course, will keep our viewers fully updated with regard to all the developments that will unfold from the Maldives. Stay connected, stay with News First as we break the story first.
Moving on to news from back here at home, President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that there is a group of politicians in the country who forward separatist demands. The president noted that they try to create issues all the time. The president expressed this view at a function organized yesterday to declare open the new 2-story building of the Chavakatcheri Base Hospital in Jaffna.
The new 2-story building that was constructed by the Chavakatcheri Base Hospital that was destroyed by the war consists of 86 beds, a fully equipped drugstore and a CT scan. The president also declared open the 2-story hostel that has been constructed for doctors with all facilities. A sum of 150 million rupees had been spent for the construction of the building that has been constructed with financial aid from Finland and Ireland Red Cross. 100 motorbikes and 285 bicycles were distributed among families, health bureau officers and community health officers under the aid received by the government of Japan and World Bank.
நீங்கள் எல்லோரும் இப்போ உங்களுடைய வாழ்க்கையை ஆரம்பித்து අපි එක රටක් අපිව එක අම්මා කෙනෙකුගේ දරුවෝ වගේ අපි රටේ ජනතාව ජීවත් වෙනවා දකීම.
Our objective is to see our people living as children of the same mother. When you were about to give me a memento, I said the greatest memento you could give me is the support we need to build a public who could live together in peace for the sake of the future generations.
The Director General of the Department of Government Information says Minister K.L. Rabukwella, who is receiving treatment at a hospital in Melbourne, Australia, is due to return to the island. He stated that the minister had contacted him this morning to inform him that he would be returning to the island. Minister Rabukwella met with an accident yesterday when he slipped on a balcony in a hotel in Melbourne. The Director General of Government Information said Minister Rabukwella had sustained minor injuries on his feet. The Director General of Government Information, Professor Ari Ratnatugala, said that the minister underwent surgery.
9 live hand grenades have been discovered in 2 roads in Keselwatha, Colombo. Police media spokesperson SP Ajit Rohana said that the grenades were found based on a tip-off received this morning. A bag containing 7 grenades have been discovered following a tip-off given by an individual who was travelling along the MD Gunasena Road in Keselwatha. The police noted that 2 other live hand grenades have been discovered from the St. Sebastian Road in Keselwatha following information given by a cleaning lady.
Former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca was brought to a private hospital in Colombo today for treatment.
Sarath Fonseca was brought to hospital for physiotherapy treatment for past injuries to the shoulder and knee.
Injustice and unfairness have become king through government sponsorship. What we are telling the people is to leave aside ethnic and political divisions and rise together against injustice and unfairness. We are there behind you.
LTT ත්‍රස්තවාදය නැති කළා ජෙනරල් සරත් පොන්සේගා මැතිතුමා මේ රටේ සියලු දෙනාටම නිදහස එහා මෙහා විදින්න.
It is disappointing that General Sarath Fonseca, who defeated the terrorism of the LTTE and paved the way for all in the country to move freely, is now imprisoned. Also, when reports of bombs being found are being made publicly, it is clear that the government has also accepted that the city of Colombo has become unsafe.
මේ රට මේ නගරය කොළඹ නගරය අනාරක්ෂිත ප්‍රදේශයක් බවට අවදානම් ප්‍රදේශයක් බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා.
Meanwhile, UNP parliamentarian Karu Jayasuriya arrived at the Walikada prison this afternoon to visit former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca.
ඉතිහාසයෙන් එතුමගේ නමත් සයින් කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි දැක්ක පසුගිය දවස්වල මේ දිනවල තිබිච්ච ප්‍රචාර කටයුතු වලින් සරත් ෆොන්සේකා ජෙනරල් වරයාගේ කිසිම.
We are asking the government to release him at least now. I do not think the public can be appeased by providing various excuses. As far as we know, no one needs to appeal for his release. Those who were involved in murders, rapes and large-scale theft have been released. There was no call for their families to appeal for their freedom. We know that the Mahanayakas have also appealed for General Sarath Fonseca's release. There have been appeals from civil society. When there are such appeals, if the government wants, if the president wants, they can release him.
ඒ වගේම සිවිල් සමාජ ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා. මේ ඉල්ලීමක් තියද්දී රජයට අවශ්‍ය නම් ජනාධිපතිතුමාට අවශ්‍ය නම් එතුමා නිදහස් කරන්න පුළුවන්.